Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue à notre premier cours de cuisine virtuelle célébrant la Fête nationale du Québec. My name is Chris Iverson and it is a real pleasure to be with you to celebrate Quebec's national holiday by kicking off our cooking show series right here in Chicago. I'd like to first thank Laurence Gagnon, my colleague at the Quebec Government Office in Boston, who has spearheaded and organized all the cooking activities in the Americas. She is also serving as our behind-the-scenes tech operator today, so thank you, merci Laurence. A couple of housekeeping notes. You will see that the chat box has been disabled. Please use the Q&R or the Q&A box to ask questions to the chef or any of the other panelists. I will relay the questions in real time to keep the event interactive. Now, sans plus attendre, it is my privilege to introduce to you our host for today's event, Quebec's delegate to Chicago, Madame Martine Hébert. Madame Hébert has been with us for almost 2 years now as our chef de poste. For those of you who do not yet have the privilege of knowing Madame Hébert, she is a well-known to economic development stakeholders, policymakers, and the media, and has built her career at prominent public and private organizations in both Quebec and Canada. A seasoned expert on government relations and the business community, she has contributed to the economic development of Quebec and Canada by serving for 10 years as Senior Vice President and National Spokesperson for Canada's largest SME group, the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses. We are absolutely delighted to have her as our head of office here in Chicago. Madame Hébert, the floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup, Karen. Merci tout le monde. Merci, Laurence. Bienvenue. Alors, welcome everybody. And thank you for joining us today at this, the first of a series of 6 events, I think, similar to this, to celebrate our Québec's Fête nationale. The theme this year is Tissé serré. Tissé serré in Québécois means tightly knit. And it's, we chose this theme to demonstrate our strong ties with the Midwest partners and friends. And speaking of Tissé serré, I just want to recall that the United States is at the heart of Quebec's international policy. It has been for many years now. And we are eager to continue to build and grow and prosper together. So as you will see, we have chosen today a recipe that is Midwest inspired with a little Quebecois touch in it. Our recipe today will be a maple bacon grilled cheese sandwich. I just want to, before introducing the ingredients and of this wonderful recipe that we will have today, I just want to give you a little word about the origin of this beautiful sandwich. And a couple of statistics. Did you know that 3/4 of people who buy sliced cheese make at least 1 grilled cheese every week? So that's, if we count the number of people who buy sliced cheese in the United States every week, that makes a lot of grilled cheese that are made in the United States. So also the origins of the grilled cheese, actually I learned by going, doing some research for today, that the origin of the grilled cheese dates from the middle of the 1900s. It started in 1914 when Kraft invented the sliced cheese, a sliced processed cheese. And in the 1920s, then was a man called Otto Frederick Roeder invented a slicer for the bread. So the invention of these two, the slicer for the bread and the sliced cheese, made these two ingredients more and more popular. So, and more democratic also, and these were cheap ingredients. So during World War II, Navy cooks used to prepare countless American cheese-filled sandwich as instructed actually by the government-issued cookbooks in Chip's Kitchen. But in the 1940s and 50s, these sandwiches were usually served open-faced and consisted of 1 slice of bread topped with grated cheese. It's in 1949 that Kraft Foods introduced Kraft singles, individually wrapped slice of processed cheese, and supermarkets began stocking them in 1965. It's also around that time that the second and perhaps most important piece of bread was added on top of the grilled cheese. So this is the origin of the grilled cheese that we know today. So we have a number of fine ingredients of products that we'll be featuring today in this recipe. And to introduce these ingredients, I want to present to you Geneviève Possus, which is our food and beverage attaché, to say a few words about what we'll be featuring today. Geneviève?
Hi, Martine. Thank you so much for the introduction. So I am the Economic Affairs Attaché at the Quebec Government Office for Food and Beverage. So my goal is to help Quebec-based food and beverage vendors expand their footprint across 12 states in the Midwest. So we cover as far east as Ohio, as far west as the Dakotas, and then down south to Missouri. So our goal is to help get these delicious Quebec products into your local retailer and supermarket so that you can enjoy them as well. So I'm just going to share my screen really quick because I want to give you a brief overview of Quebec foods in the Midwest. All right, let's get this started. Okay. So Quebec foods are known for offering a mix of European and North American influences, and we can really see this with our baked goods as well as our chocolate offerings, which have kind of a European style to us. Luckily, Quebec is a lot closer to us than Europe. That's another thing that really sets us apart is our easy access to the US market and access to other markets such as Europe. So Quebec products are present in about 160 different countries in the world. We're really a globally connected province. Innovation is another quality that really defines Quebec foods. Our suppliers are all really at the cutting edge of food trends, which is great to see. And then quality and food safety are really two other aspects that make Quebec really competitive. As far as some of the products that we're known for, maple products, Quebec supplies about 80% of the world's maple syrup. So chances are if you've had maple syrup, there's a good chance it was from Quebec. We'll be using some today in our recipe, which I'm really excited about. We're also export a lot of baked goods, so really delicious breads, pastries, desserts that kind of have that European influence that I mentioned. Chocolate is one of our biggest exports, which is delicious. Cheese, which will be featured heavily today, which I'm also very excited about. And then we're also a big supplier of pork. So I know we'll be using some bacon today, as well as seafood and berries. And one of the other things that we're really strong with in the Midwest is private label. So a lot of products that are in big American retailers that are the store brands, such as Good and Gather, Simple Truth, things like that. A lot of Quebec suppliers actually supply those brands. So I highly encourage you to check out the labels on your store brand products because they may be from Quebec. In the Midwest, we're also really glad to host the PLMA private label show every year. So we welcome a lot of Quebec exhibitors to that to kind of showcase their specialty in that area. And then really quickly, I just kind of wanted to give you a brief introduction to some of the Quebec brands that you may see in your local retailers and some of the places where they're sold. Unfortunately, I won't go into every one of them. There's a lot more than this as well, but I wanted to highlight just a couple that I think would be relevant for today's cooking show. So Boulard and Brie d'Or are two bread makers that are based in Quebec that offer really delicious and a huge variety of different kinds of breads. Boulard, I know, can be found at Fresh Time Farmers Market in their bakery section. So I encourage you to go check that out. And then I also wanted to mention Old Quebec Vintage Cheddar, which is a delicious aged cheddar from Quebec that is distributed nationally. I believe it is in the Midwest as well. And you can find it in a lot of independent retailers and delis around the Midwest. And I believe that may be what we're using today, but Chef Dominic can tell us a bit more. If you have any questions about Quebec products, feel free to reach out to me. You can send me an email here, or you can also reach out to us on the website of the Quebec Government Office in Chicago. So without further ado, Madame Hébert, I will turn it back to you.
Merci beaucoup, Geneviève. It's a great pleasure now to introduce you now to Chef Dominic Sylvain, who will be our guest for today, and who will be doing the recipe today, performing the recipe for us today. But before we get started, Dominic, just would you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you chose these ingredients and this recipe for us today?
OK, bon, ben, bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue dans ma petite cuisine. C'est un peu, j'essayais toujours d'avoir la caméra juste en avant de moi, mais là, j'ai pas le choix, il faut que ça soit de côté un peu. And don't worry, I will be speaking. I know how to speak English, and the recipe will be explained in English most of the time. Yeah, I was born in Montreal, and then I went to the ETHQ, where is a famous cooking school in Montreal. And after that, at some point, I was like, I had the need to, I need to learn to speak English because, so I didn't speak English until I was 21. And at that time, I decided to move to the West Coast of Canada to learn English. And I ended up being, it's New York City here. We can hear. Yeah, I moved to the West Coast of Canada to learn English. And at the time, the only job I could really do because I couldn't speak English was dishwasher. And I ended up working in a really good restaurant. And then from there, I moved back to Quebec. And that's when I went to cooking school. And from there, I work in France. I actually also did, yeah. So this is and I work a bit of everywhere. I work France, the UK, the West Coast of Canada, a bit of the US. Now I'm in New York City. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Would you say you have a specialty as a chef, or you're navigating between?
I would say specialty. What I really like, I would say any braising meat, but actually, and now I'm doing a lot of research and study of try to cook a little more vegetable because it's kind of the right thing to do, but I still love meat. I still love meat. I can't, but I know it's a good choice. But yeah, I will say braising, like taking like the toughest like meat part and then making them so delicious because everybody can cook a filet mignon and it'll be tasty. It takes like 10 minutes. But when you have a ossobuco or a shank, you need patience, technique, and so this is what I prefer.
Okay, so please go ahead. Hey. We're listening to you.
My idea today, I didn't want something complicated. I want something that everybody can do, it's summertime that people will be able to do for their kids, for people that come over, like on the Saturday afternoon. So it's the grilled cheese because Quebec's got great cheddar. The aged cheddar is delicious, a little salty. That's why it goes really well with the maple. And I will show you with 3 different kind of bread, let you know. See? And but the main thing about my grilled cheese is the maple bacon jam. So we're gonna start with that right away. I don't know how many of you are actually cooking with me. This will be like a real cooking show. There'll be some magic tricks. Bacon's gonna cook way quicker than probably yours. Let's start. So first with the bacon, so you need to chop it. So bacon you need to make bacon bits. Don't worry about how you're gonna cut your bacon because it's gonna cook. It's gonna shrink, and anyway, at the end, we're gonna put it in the RoboCoupe. So basically, you cut your bacon, and then we just basically cook. So for you, if you're doing it at home, this is probably gonna take. There we go. You just, and don't put oil, don't put butter, just let it start. Like that bacon's gonna lose its fat. And one mistake I see often that people do is when the fat start to melt and people try to take away fat from the pan, don't. You wanna leave all the liquid in there. A lot of water is gonna get out of that bacon, but if you let it cook, the water is gonna evaporate and it's gonna be all fat. And if you leave the fat, it's gonna cook more equally. So you're gonna get a real nice golden brown, but everywhere. Instead, if you keep taking fat out, it's only the bottom, the bacon that actually touched the pan that's gonna cook, and then that gets a little more darker. Yeah, so for people that are actually cooking it, so this will take about 20-25 minutes, depending. So this is for this reason. So let's say it's 25 minutes later.
Dominic, what kind of bacon are you using? Any kind of bacon would do, right?
Yes. Like if somebody likes something more smoky, you go ahead, or no smoke, just cure, or no cure. Yeah, I would say. But I like the smoke one because I think it goes really well with that maple. Like this is like.
Yeah, smoked maple, salt, like it's a good match.
Let me get my the powerful pot here. So yeah, so basically the trick is you cook the bacon. And I don't know if you see, let me see how much fat there is in my pan here. Everybody can see from the second camera. So you want to leave that because at one point, see how all the bacon is submerged in the fat, and this is how it's gonna get the perfect color, and it's gonna be beautiful. And while this is cooking, because the trick is this needs to get color, and when it'll be ready, we're gonna need to add some onions and garlic. So I'm gonna cut my onion are already cut, just to save some time, but I'll cut the garlic. That same thing, don't worry too much. I would not cut big chunk of onion, but don't paranoid, don't stress, like just try to cut little like small piece, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Same thing with the garlic.
It's one onion, Dominic, or?
That was on the recipe. I got half for 1 pound, 1 pound of bacon. It's a half onion, roughly. So this is like, it's rare because usually I rarely do just 1 pound. Like usually at work, I'll make like a 5 pound, and then because by the way, this bacon jam like will last in your fridge like a good 2 weeks, easy. Like if you like in a nice container that with a lid on. I mean, it's bacon that already it's cured that itself. It lasts a long time, and then you cook it in sugar and vinegar. So I mean, I would definitely not worry. And then it's kind of nice. You can have it in your fridge. So when you need it, you just take it out. The trick is maybe if you know people are coming and you're going to make grilled cheese, just take it out off the fridge. I don't know, maybe 2 hours before. So it's going to get a little softer. So you'll be able to take chunk and then put it in your bacon. So now you probably see my bacon. It's almost the right color, but you want, so basically when you start seeing those bubble, when the fat's starting to bubble like this, that's mean there's barely any liquid, like the water from the bacon, that's pretty all gone. And this, you know, you're getting really, really close when it bubbles like this. So when it bubbles like this, just give me a minute, I'll grab. So because obviously you want it to cook in the fat, but you don't want all that fat in your bacon jam. So trick, so when it's I will strain the bacon.
That's interesting because your bacon is going to be real crunchy, but not burned. I mean, that's what I see. It's,
yeah, so I'll show you to you here. See?
Yeah.
It's really crispy. So this, I will keep it on the side here. I will like, there you go. And I still have a bit of fat in the pan, but it's okay because I kind of need it because now I'm gonna add the onion and the garlic. And okay, when I do this, I don't want my onion and garlic to have coloration, like any brown. But I don't think it'd be a bad thing if you like more that caramelized onion flavor. I would go for it. This is what I do, but I mean, feel free. Like if, like example, you prefer caramelized onion, caramelize your onion. If I put sugar in there, but if you like it less sugary, put less. Like, and then you practice, and then one day you'll have exactly what you want. So now you see, no, now I was talking too much. I get a bit of coloration on my onions, but see, it's not a problem. So after that, that's when I add the bacon to it. And then you mix it. And what makes it the jam now, so I got brown sugar. So you put the brown sugar in it. I got apple cider vinegar that you deglaze the pan with it, and maple syrup. And don't worry, the vinegar, more you reduce the vinegar, and vinegar gets sweeter as you it's kind of like when you do balsamic reduction. Balsamic is already a vinegar super sweet to start with, but any vinegar that you reduce will get sweet. But with this is that you still get a sweet and sour.
And we do have one question. Well, we have two questions. One, what is the heat level that you recommend for the burner while you work on this?
I would say for everybody at home, medium high. It's just here right now, like, because like I got pretty much 25 minutes, half an hour. So I'm trying to follow the schedule. But
and
yeah.
Then, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Medium, high. Second question is, do you ever, would you ever experiment or add something like a berry, a currant or something like that to the jam to add a fruit?
Yeah, I think, at this point now, I would put like Quebec, we got great cranberries, the dry cranberries in there will be a nice touch. Also, if you want, like, we're in the US, bourbon, a little touch of bourbon at the beginning when you deglaze your pan. I think that would be a great with the cheddar would be, it'd be a great combo. I mean, bacon, cheddar, and bourbon.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So
and this jam, Dominic, you can use it also not only for the cream cheese, but I
call it jam, but chutney, warm chutney. And you can also even make I used to do a warm bacon vinaigrette. So basically from this, you just put it in the blender, and then you had a little more vinegar and olive oil, you emulsify, and it's like on like some lettuce, like a romaine, or even like spinach. Baby spinach is super good. And then you can add your scallop, you can have a piece of salmon or cod. I mean, wet doesn't go with bacon, but this is a nice touch because you get the sweet and sour of it. So it's not just salty. And then, so I really like it. Every time I do this one, I usually do this grilled cheese with the bacon jam as a canapé hors d'oeuvre when we do tray pass parties. And then I make those they're mini, and then it's one bite, and then and I'll show you too what I do when they're ready. That'll be the surprise at the end. I'll tell you what I do, what I tell the people to do. So this is gonna reduce. Now this is not gonna take that long to reduce, but I was prepared for do it. So you see. This is a little cold, but I got a feeling the one I just made probably gonna be ready almost at the same time now. So the thing is, you definitely wanna reduce to what I'm like telling you to reduce, because if you're not reduced, it's gonna be too vinegary. And then it's not gonna be that great. And that you really want that sweet and sour. You don't want a vinaigrette in your grilled cheese.
Just want a little bit of acidity to cut on the fattiness of the, I suppose, to cut on the fattiness of the cheese and the bacon, but not the vinegar.
Yeah, that's why. And then more you reduce the vinegar, more you actually get a sweeter.
Yeah, it's a sweet acidity.
So let me rearrange everything here, because now when this is cooked and ready to, we're gonna have to, I mean, And then I do this, I put in the RoboCoupe just to have something a little more smoother. And it's just easier to put in your, but if you prefer chunky, like try it. Like, but then if you prefer chunky, then it probably means you will have to cut it finer at the beginning before cooking it. This is why I don't really stress too much when I cut the bacon, because I know at the end everything is going to come in the RoboCoupe or food processor.
That was one question we had is when you say RoboCoupe, you're referring to a food processor for all of us that are not professional chefs.
But this, I mean, this is not the RoboCoupe is a professional brand. That's why I was like food processor. So the Cuisinart makes a good one too.
Perfect. Thank you. And we have some guests who have said hello all the way from Quebec City. So you do have North America watching you today.
Oh, hello. Bonjour, bonjour. Ça va tout le monde? OK. C'est là, mon bacon. It's perfect. C'est la parfaite consistance. Puis, I will blitz both of them today. So you just put it in there. And you just want to pulse it. I want it smooth, but not too smooth. I still want people to feel like that little bacon bite in there.
Hey.
Okay.
Dominic, it's not, you don't want to have a puree. You just want to have like,
I just say more like, so, you know, it's still fine, but you know, you can see there's like chunk still in there. Like I want people to, when they bite the grilled cheese, that they can taste the bacon, but they can, oh yeah, this is bacon. Like they, you know.
Bacon bits.
Yeah. There you go. So let me just rearrange. I don't have much room. So now we got the bacon jam done, and it's time to make the grilled cheese. So I have three kind of bread here because I want to make sure everybody doesn't like focus on my side. Grilled cheese to me, it's from when I was a kid. When I was a kid, grilled cheese was on white bread, okay? With like the craft, like the process. That's what my grilled cheese when I was like, since I'm a kid. So no shame. If you want to use, that's why if you want to use just like a regular Wonder Bread, white bread, no shame on this, you can. It's great. I got another one, it's brioche. The only thing with brioche, be careful, there's sugar and eggs in brioche. So it will color quicker in the pan, and it means you'll have to cook it at maybe a lower temperature because you want the color, but you want heat coming inside to melt the cheese without burning your bread. So that's the only thing with a brioche. It could be tricky. And I got a more good crusty bread, but it's a sourdough. If you prefer a whole wheat or something with more grain, please do. It's just me. It's just the grilled cheese in my head. It has to be white bread. So that's why I got the sourdough. Sorry, or you know, this is my preference. But only because it's when I eat grilled cheese, it brings me back memory of being a kid. So that's the only reason. So now my pan is on the stove, and what I like to do. So you take the first slice, and I would say, don't be shy with the butter when you make the grilled cheese. It's one of the secret. And you know, because technically, if you decide to eat a grilled cheese, like you obviously decided that you were not eating a super healthy salad, you were going for grilled cheese, so might as well make it good. So what I do usually, I build it right in the pan. So I'll like put this. When you do that, you want to make sure your heat is not too high. So you see, that was the sourdough. This is my brioche, and I have regular white bread, and the face that you butter, that's the one that touched the pan. And then you put your cheese in it.
And I would say, Dominic, if you want to feel less guilty, you can serve a salad on the side.
Yeah, you can. You're right. I mean, you know, I'm not that old, but I'm at that age that I have to be careful. So I often, that's what I eat. It's a salad with my grilled cheese. You know, one bread I really like too with grilled cheese, and actually it's the bread I like to eat my burger also, potato bread. Those are my, when it comes to a burger example, I don't like a fancy bun. I like sesame, or, so to me, same thing with the grilled cheese. And that, again, don't be shy with.
Yeah, it's very versatile. We can use all sorts of bread. We can do grilled cheese with focaccia, for example, with bagel, with
yeah, but then it becomes like, you know, like you know, a cheese panini is a kind of a version Italian. You mentioned to me the croque monsieur would be kind of more like the French. So yeah.
Yeah, I said the grilled cheese has a lot of cousins around the world. Yeah. I mean, he has like the panini in Italy, he has the croque monsieur in France, he has the quesadilla in Mexico. So
okay, and then
it's very versatile.
You put the bacon jam in it, and I mean, you could put more, but it's gonna melt with the cheese. It's gonna melt with the cheese. So. And what I do now, we're just butter again the top. But the part that you just butter, you want it facing up. Now, I'll probably be able to show you why with because I've been talking a lot, and I won't lie to you, I'm getting worried that maybe my brioche is a bit too color. But there you go. So, and there you go. So now the trick, sorry. I mean, this is everybody done it, but I know sometimes people have a hard time. It's, you want to go slow and low, but not too low. But because you want the bread to color, but you want that cheese to melt. Because often, yeah, see, this is good. You can leave it there, but yeah, this is still good. And I like to press it. And then this process, I mean, it may take like a good real 5 minutes, and then you flip it, and you may have to go back and forth, like, so that the heat goes equally on both sides. But the secret is really, don't go too high, because you're gonna end up with your bread at the color you want it too soon, and you won't never be able to get your cheese melted, and then it becomes just a cheese sandwich. So a toasted cheese sandwich, not a grilled cheese. And there we go. And then
that smells very good.
So see, this is the brioche, and it's already
brown.
Good, like, so that's why I'm flipping it. But the thing is, I need a little more heat for the other bread. So if it was all brioche, it'd be easier to cook it perfectly. But now, because I got the other bread and I want the right color on the other bread also, so. see the difference. And so one thing I do, me at work, funny, because I know in the US, a lot of people eat their grilled cheese with ketchup. And no shame, I love ketchup. But ketchup is super sweet. And one time I had the idea, I was like, well, with the bacon jam, and so I was like, why not just dipping it in straight maple syrup? And I tried it once and it blew my mind. So now when I do receptions and I do those mini grilled cheese, on the wood board, I will have a ramekin of just plain maple syrup. And I always tell the server to tell the guests because people don't have that instinct or here in Quebec, I don't think you will have to say it twice, but here you kind of have to explain and people are not sure. But every time people does it, they're always like, oh, this is really good. Because with the cheese we're using, it's aged, so it's super sharp and it's definitely saltier than another like cheddar, like a processed cheddar you buy. So that saltiness and within the maple, it's it's to me it's a perfect match. But I know like if I was in Paris, I'm not sure. Paris, there was it's too sweet and like often. But here it totally worked. In Quebec, when we definitely have a sweet tooth. It's easier to come with, but yeah, dip in straight maple syrup. It's delicious. You'll see. When they're ready, I'll show you how I'm plating it.
And chef, we have a couple more questions. One is if we aren't able to make our own bacon jam, do you have any recommendations on where to find or what kind of bacon jam people could get?
No, I never really saw. I would if I was.
Or maybe.
You probably have to go in a fine grocery store, like like a place where maybe they have more fancy things. I don't know, but I never really saw any bacon jam at the grocery store. But like you see, I mean, it's pretty simple to make. It's just time. Like it will take half an hour to make, and then you can have it in your fridge for at least 2 weeks. So it's up to you. But I really don't know where I can find.
And for those of us who joined a little late, who missed making the bacon jam, are you able to give a quick recap of a quick summary of how you made that?
Yeah, no problem. Give me a minute.
Sure.
And then I will, and see, I won't be ashamed of myself, but I was trying to cook the two others. And this is now I can really show you to be careful with the brioche because brioche does color way quicker. So see, so now I'm just gonna twist it, but the cheese is almost melted in the brioche. So we're getting there. Okay, so I'm gonna re-talk about the bacon jam. So I don't know if you guys have the recipe in front of you. So basically here, so I started with bacon, just regular bacon, whatever bacon you like, use it. And then I cut it to make bacon bits and don't worry too much. The size, you want it small, like small piece like this, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Just like this will be ready. This needs to cook down until it's like bacon bits, like super crispy. Then you take the fat out of this because you don't want that fat in your bacon jam. And when, okay, you take the bacon out and then in the pan, you're gonna add onion and garlic until they get soft and translucent. Like I said too, if you want a little color, you can have a little color. So if the onion gets brown, it's a good thing if that's what you like, don't be shy. Then you add the bacon to that, mix it, and then you deglaze the bacon, the onion, and the garlic with maple syrup, apple cider vinegar, brown sugar. And that's gonna make a syrup, basically a bacony, syrupy thing. And then you need to reduce that until almost dry. But be careful because there's lots of sugar. So if you forget about it, it's gonna burn quickly too. So you want, okay, there you go. Now I think I can. So, and then when the bacon is and the vinegar and the maple syrup and the sugar has got the perfect consistency, then I put it in a food processor just to, and I pulse it. Like I don't want a fine puree. I want some little chunk, and it's gonna feel like here. That's what it's gonna look like. You see? So it's pasty, but you can still see the bits. So it's basically a bacon bit syrup almost. But with the vinegar, it gives the sweet and sour. Any question about the?
We do have another question about breads.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever experimented, or what are your thoughts on using a nutty bread?
Oh, yes, that's what I was saying. If you prefer like more whole wheat, nuts, I mean, nuts and cheese is always a good thing. It's just like I was saying at the beginning, for me, grilled cheese is when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I didn't like nuts. Like, I didn't like, kids are difficult. So that's why when I eat grilled cheese, it has to be, for me, it has to be a white bread. So sourdough, or that's what I was saying. Don't be no shame of using, like, even if you prefer Wonder Bread, go for it. And then brioche is a good one too, because it's dense. But like I said, brioche colors really quickly. So you have to be careful. And that's it. So now the bacon is ready. So what I usually do, I often like to serve it on a wood board. And instead of the ketchup, I will have just a bowl of maple syrup, just like that. And then you cut it in just like a tiny angle so you can dip it in it. And that's it.
Wow. And actually, that's a tradition in Quebec. Older people, I remember some of my grandmothers used to do that with their meals, actually. They would always have that little bucket of maple syrup, that little cup of maple syrup on the side of their plates, and they would dip their bread into it with their meals, no matter what. So it's a very good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the biggest stereotype French Canadian when it comes to maple syrup. I marry an American, and she always laugh at me because I put maple syrup on a lot of things. Dessert, like sometimes we don't have anything for dessert, and all I'll do will be a butter toast, like drenched with maple syrup, and I'm happy. Or even with maple syrup, sometimes I buy a small thing of Häagen-Dazs ice cream, and I just take the first centimeter off, and then I cover the whole thing with maple syrup, and then I eat the ice cream until there's no more maple syrup, and then I flat it out, and then I put more maple syrup. That's something I used to do again when I was a kid. So, but my mom back then had to watch me because I was a little heavy on the maple syrup too.
But with strawberries, with blueberries also, it's good if you don't.
Yeah, definitely. Now that I'm older, I definitely put some fruit. I love the blueberry, strawberry, or even sometimes cook apples. Or but when I was a kid, I mean, you're a kid, so you don't want to have anything to do with fruits when you were a kid, or at least when I was a kid. So yeah, so this is what the grilled cheese should look like. I love like tons of cheese. It's dripping a bit everywhere. You can see, so the bacon jam, it's not like everywhere. It's not too intense. Don't put too much, but if that's what you want, go ahead. But it's just nice to have just a little, once in a while you get the bacon, and then, yeah, you dip it and
wow,
it's perfect.
Yeah, you feel
that cheese. But I have to say, it has to be aged cheddar. Sorry, I'm talking with my mouth full now. But if it's not aged cheddar, just a regular, the maple syrup may not that may not work. Like if you're like those craft slices, the processed cheese, American cheese, I don't know. I think with the maple syrup, you definitely need like a good cheddar to me.
Yeah, because it's sharp. The processed cheese has some sweetness in it, kind of a sort of sweetness, so it wouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't get, and then it's not as salty. There's something because of the because it's aged, salt comes out because you need salt to start the cheese process of it. So somehow I'm not a cheese maker, but often those cheese are always a little more salty than a like non-processed cheese. And I think it's delicious with the maple syrup. And then that's it. This is my recipe.
Thank you very much.
J'espère que tout le monde a bien aimé.
Good. Thank you very much, Chef Dominic. This was really interesting and a fantastic recipe. And as you said, that is really easy to make for everybody. So I hope that everyone on the screen today will enjoy this fantastic grilled cheese. And of course, as a chef, I know that you are not a partisan, so you will tell us that. But please tell us, is really the Quebec sirop d'érable, the maple syrup from Quebec, the best maple syrup?
It is the best.
The best, huh?
It's the best. And
it's not because you're a partisan. It's not because you're from Quebec. It's because you're
not at all.
You're saying
not
that.
at all. And then one thing too, most of the time people like the light color. Mm-hmm. And it's just funny, most chefs I know, we all prefer the darker one.
Yeah,
the darker one, it's got a strong flavor. It's only because the darker one comes from later in the harvest, like towards the end of the harvest season. So there's more mineral in it. And it sometimes almost have this like molasses, almost like just flavor. No, it's just, so try if you want to with the darker maple syrup. It's delicious too.
Thank you very much, Chef Dominic.
Perfect.
Bonne fête nationale du Québec.
Eh oui, bonne fête, bonne Saint-Jean.
Bonne Saint-Jean.
Bye.
Salut.